That's right. Back at it again, Full Custom Hot Dog here, doing another Blu-ray 4K review. Baby! That's right, we're going to be talking today about the film Love and Monsters, which I'd seen recently and bought it immediately because I enjoyed it so much. An absolutely fun, wonderful movie, which of course we'll talk about here in a moment. Released by Paramount, a company who I have heard will be one of the first to stop producing discs, allegedly. Don't know how true that is, but they were one of the earlier ones a few months ago that had some rumblings of potentially no longer producing their own discs. So, what's on the disc? Well, I have the 4K release here. It has a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. So, one thing I've noticed in my short time collecting 4Ks is almost always the 4K disc has nothing on it. And just the film itself, while the Blu-ray is where you get the special features along with the film. So, on here, you've got your usual Hollywood fluff featurettes, which I'm not a fan of. They're cute, but they're shallow. There are some neat little making of things here. You learn that this was filmed in Australia, and everyone just kind of talks about the usual Hollywood fluff featurettes. If you've never seen any of those, you're really not missing out. It's just quick little snippets of cast and crew saying, "Oh, this movie was a joy to work on. Oh, this was such a blast. Oh, what an intriguing script. Oh, my character is just such a cool, tough guy." So, to that, don't care. There are some deleted scenes which are kind of neat. However, there are some deleted scenes which are kind of neat, but it's fine that they're deleted, which is fine. I think that's what you should hope for with deleted scenes, is when you watch a deleted scene, you go, "Oh, that's why it's not in the movie." And I feel like with those scenes in place, the film's pacing would have been off. So, not a complaint with those being deleted, but of course, always nice to have them. All in all, this is probably like a B minus, I guess. I want to say C+, but it's a 4K disc of a movie. It's nice. And there's deleted scenes. No commentary, which is always a bummer. What are you going to do, though? You know? Let's talk about the film itself, though. I liked this quite a bit. Directed by Michael Matthews, someone who I'm not too familiar with. Looks like he's mostly done production. He's mostly acted as producer and has directed some shorts. So it looks like this may be his first big budget picture. He did a film called Five Fingers for Marseilles. Don't know what that is. If it's good, let me know. I haven't seen it. I'm actually kind of surprised to see that this was his first feature. I figured he would have had a background in maybe animation or something, just because of the way this film is. Not just because of all the heavy CG, but just the pacing and everything of the film. This film is very tightly put together, and there's not many lulls, which is surprising. It reminds me of something like Kong Skull Island. You'll probably hear me make that comparison a few times. But before we get into more detail there, what is this movie about? Well, IMDb says 7 years after he survived the monster apocalypse, lovably hapless Joel leaves his cozy underground bunker behind on a quest to reunite with his ex. So yes, you have goofy, lovable, goofball Joel, who's alone in his bunker. Well, he's got a whole bunker family, but he's the only one without a waifu. Not even a body pillow to keep him warm at night. So he's been frantically working that radio to try to see if he can contact his ex. She's got to be out there. She's just gotta. And lo and behold, she's out there, 7 days away. Now, it's worth noting that should he leave this bunker, he has terrible monsters to contend with, you see, and the opening credits set this up beautifully, perfectly actually, I would say, for a few reasons I'll get into in a second. The opening credits show you that, you know, there was a meteorite coming, a rocket hit it to try to take it out, chemicals befell the planet, turning everything that was cold-blooded into monsters and creatures. So, frogs, bugs, snakes probably, all kinds of critters are now big and mean, terrifying even. Not everything, of course. You've got things like grubs, and they do show some things that are somewhat peaceful, as they should be. You're not going to have like a killer caterpillar. I don't think you would. But there's like some slugs that are friendly-ish and things like that. So the world changes. I kind of mentioned how the opening credits do this very well. And I say that because I rented this to watch with my family. And if you guys don't know, I like to try to introduce my parents to weird movies when I go to visit them. So this was one. They had the sound settings messed up, so we weren't hearing any of the voice, just the music. And we were able to pick up exactly what happened. Of course, we realized there were no voices and rewound it to watch, but being able to deliver a concept that's kind of wacky like this, without any words and just using an efficient series of pictures, to me, that's fairly impressive, especially if my parents can understand it. They're not always the best at paying attention through things like that, so round of applause. Good job. So, he finds out his ex is 7 days away and decides, hey, I gotta go visit Milady and maybe re-spark our romance. And our lovable Joel ends up leaving to go reconnect. Joel's played by Dylan O'Brien, someone I'm not familiar with, but apparently played Bumblebee in the Bumblebee movie. Not too familiar with most of the people here, so you probably won't hear me name names. Although, while Joel is wandering around, he does run into an older man and a little girl. And they're both rad. The older man played by the wonderful Michael Rooker, who delivers. I had no idea he was in this. It was great to see him. He's got a katana on his side. Not enough katana action, slight spoiler, but there's still some great action bits in here. Joel also ends up meeting a dog. That's his primary companion. The dog's sort of on a little sub-quest of his own. They don't give us the full details. It's only hinted at that potentially the dog's owner has disappeared. We don't, slight spoiler, ever necessarily find out what the dog is looking for. They don't really resolve that in any way, which is both good and bad. I think it would have been cheesy if they did, but I kind of just want a side movie of the dog and the dog's quest. Not even joking. I like the world that they have sort of created here, where you have these big, out-of-control beasts. I'm a sucker for movies with cool monster designs and fun action. It's kind of why I said that this is sort of like Skull Island. But it's also not your normal post-apocalypse. I feel like forever the post-apocalypse has always been, here's this world, and it's devastated and just sand. And you get to see things like Statue of Liberty covered up to the neck in sand, things like that. It's cool. However, I do like this new trend that I'm seeing more and more lately, which is our world that's just been overgrown, that the earth has retaken it. I normally think of it in video games. Offhand, I can't think of too many movies that do that, so absolutely let me know if you know of any, because it's an aesthetic I like. Video games that do it, though, Horizon Zero Dawn has it, and the recently released Biomutant has that as well. I don't know if you guys follow video games, but Biomutant hasn't gotten the best reviews, but a reason that I enjoy playing it is just to look at the cool environments, just to see a post-apocalyptic Earth that's been in the process of being reclaimed, overgrown, green, and it's nice. It's a nice change of pace than the usual dire look of the post-apocalypse. I think there's something extra interesting about an apocalypse that's beautiful and desolate. You know, it's sad. It makes it a little bit more morose, I suppose. That's me, though. But all in all, I definitely like this movie. It takes you from A to B with this hapless survivor who you're, of course, seeing this world with him. And he goes, and it takes a couple turns here and there, and then the end, does he find his girlfriend? Do they get into a little adventure of his own? I guess you gotta watch to find out. All in all, this movie has some heart, some creative creature designs, some fun action. I dug this. I dug it a lot. I dug it so much that after renting it, I bought it the next day. That's how strong my endorsement for this is. And again, if you're wondering what this is akin to, Skull Island, I feel like if you like that, if you appreciate the creatures and the action of that type of movie, I think Love and Monsters is going to be right up your alley. I'd be very surprised if you liked one but didn't like the other. But of course, let me know what you think in the comments. It's great to see this. I hope we get a sequel or something to this. This world needs to be expanded upon. It's so good, and it kind of, I think it got into theaters just before COVID, or right around COVID when the lockdown started happening, and then just slipped onto physical media. I remember a lot of people buying it, but because I hadn't heard anything, I didn't want to be a day one adopter, and I kind of regret not doing that. So I hope they're able to sort of recoup whatever losses may have occurred, because it deserves much better than what it got. Apparently it did get some visual effects achievements. Not too surprising. There is a lot of CG here. However, they did try to use practical effects when possible. So not enough of a mix in my opinion, but understanding that practical effects are probably so much more expensive now than they used to be, it is great seeing it when they're there. And I don't find the CG too distracting. It mostly works, a couple rough spots here and there, but for the most part, it's fine and not even a complaint from me. So anyways, of course, let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, this is a new favorite of mine. I absolutely adore this movie. Great to watch with anyone of all ages. If you don't know what to put on with your family and they're like, hey, weirdo, pick a movie for us, go ahead and put on Love and Monsters. I will be surprised if they don't dig it. So let me know what you think. And of course, I'm your host, Full Custom Hot Dog. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that's just too long for Twitter. So thank you all for watching. And until next time. If you like what you see,
I love what I see.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you can watch whatever comes next. And if you like the music you hear, you can follow me on SoundCloud and Spotify. Check the description for links.